Hello and welcome. Today, I want to ask the question, can Max Verstappen actually win the 2025 championship? And give my thoughts on exactly why I think he's going to. So there's three main reasons as to why I think the championship will be going to Max Verstappen this year. The first reason is simply Red Bull's return to form. There's a few charts I want to put up on the screen now. Obviously, I don't know where Sky Sports get this data from, so it's sort of take it with a pinch of salt, whatever you want to do. But they are now putting Red Bull as the fastest car, with McLaren just behind in P2, about 800ths of a second off. And if this was any other team, I would say that, yeah, cool, fair enough. But because it's Red Bull, there's always that second seat caveat that's always a bit divisive. But let's be honest, that car isn't as bad as it was at the start of the season. Max certainly looks a lot happier, and honestly, I think Yuki looks happier too. There's also this chart that shows the race simulation pace, but this chart is actually showing McLaren as the fastest, with Red Bull about 400ths of a second back. So I think it is fair to say that both the McLaren and the Red Bull are the top two cars. As for where we're placing the two, honestly, I really don't know. I think it is pretty equal. The McLaren clearly isn't the dominant car that it was at the start of the season, and nor is the Red Bull the beast that it was back in the 2023 season. And if we take a quick look at the results since the start of the summer break when we came back in Zandvoort. So Max Verstappen, P2 in the Netherlands, P1 in Monza, P1 in Baku, P2 in Singapore, and P1 in both races of the Austin GP. So he's been P1 or P2 at all 5 races. If you compare that to McLaren's, Lando got P18 in the Netherlands, obviously he had that DNF for that engine blowout, a P2, a P7 in Baku, P3 in Singapore, P2 USA. So that's not a great haul of points there. It does look slightly better for Oscar. I mean, at least Oscar's won a race since the summer break in Zandvoort. He also got a podium out in Monza, did that stinker of a weekend in Baku. P4 and then P5 for the USA. And obviously both McLarens did DNF in the Austin sprint race, which is very unfortunate for their title hopes. Max also now has the most pole positions of any driver on the grid this year. He's now on 7. So when I see people saying that Red Bull's like the 3rd or the 4th fastest car, it is a bit, come on, we can get over the Red Bull tractor memes at this point. It's not a tractor. And every time I say that, people are going to call me a Max Verstappen hater. Like, I don't hate Max Verstappen. Max is clearly the best driver on the grid. Just look at the year that he's having. He is such a consistent driver. If you take a look at Yuki Tsunoda here, so in the last 5 races since the summer break, he's had 3 points scoring positions, 4 if you include both the sprint race and the GP in Austin. In contrast to that, the rest of the season, sort of 12, 13, whatever races it was, he only scored 3 points there. He scored P9 in Bahrain, P10 and P6 in Miami, and P10 in Imola. The rest of the season was like P17, P13, P17, P12. So that Red Bull car is definitely not the car that it was at the start of the season. And quite worryingly, I think McLaren has straight up said they're not developing this car anymore. So while the Red Bull seems to be getting faster and faster, like nearly every single week, the McLaren's kind of falling off a bit. So that's reason number 1. Reason number 2, where on earth has Oscar Piastri gone? If someone can find him, please let McLaren know. I think they're asking the same question too. Now, I've been saying all season that I'm backing Oscar for the championship. He's not who I want to win the championship, he's just who I was thinking would win throughout the entirety of the season. Like, if we take a look at the start of the season, Oscar had that P9 in Australia, which wasn't great, but tricky conditions and a track that he doesn't know particularly well maybe. After that, P1 and P2 in China, P3 Japan, P1, 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 P3, P3, P1. He was so good at the first part of the season, and I don't know what it is that's happening to him, but he seems to just get fatigued towards the end of the year. We saw this last year as well. Like, the back end of 2024 was really quite poor from Oscar, and maybe it's just a bit of fatigue. I don't know, that's kind of my theory on it, is there's just so many races in 2025 that towards the end of the season it just gets a bit tired. And maybe someone like Max is able to keep up that consistency all year long. I mean, when Max isn't in an F1 car, he's on a sim race, so he's racing around the Nürburgring and winning that too. And I saw a stat as well that Oscar Piastri has only scored 22 points, I think, since Zandvoort, which is the same as what Carlos Sainz in the Williams has scored, which is a pretty damning stat, and it really doesn't look good for Oscar. Obviously, a big part of that was the retirement in Baku. And honestly, after Baku, I was kind of just thinking, maybe the McLaren just really didn't suit the circuit. Like, we'll be back in Singapore, they'll be back in USA. But the truth is, they just didn't really come back. I mean, and most of the season, like I said, Oscar looked to be the driver in control of the championship. The last 5 races, it kind of momentum sort of swung back in Lando's favour. Like, Oscar's not had a podium since Monza, and even when he did, Lando was P2 there, so Lando outscored him. Lando also outscored, obviously, in the last 3 races, Baku, Singapore, and Austin too. And when you look at the races that are left, these do kind of scream Max Verstappen specialty circuits. Obviously, Austin, I think, is a circuit that he does very, very well at. But if we take a look at Oscar from the back end of last year, okay, so when we pick up from Mexico, P8, P8, P7, P3, P10. If he has a similar performance at the end of this season, then yeah, Oscar's not going to be champion, is he? The P10 at Abu Dhabi is obviously a bit of an outlier because he was taken out by Max Verstappen that race, but only one podium in the last 5 races. Compare that to Max, he got P6 in Mexico, but there was that incident between him and Lando where I think Max didn't even care about winning that race. As long as he outscored Lando, he's happy. He won in Brazil, he won in Qatar, and then P5 in Vegas, P6 in Abu Dhabi. So not great in Vegas and Abu Dhabi, but like did really well in Qatar. And I keep seeing this image floating about as well. It's basically what Max needs to do to win the title. So basically now, if Max wins every single race, Oscar comes P2 in every single race, they'll be tied on points. And I think Max would win it on countback. And then Lando would kind of be out of it on 422 there. But let's be honest, I can't imagine Oscar's coming P2 for every single race the rest of the season. I don't think that Max is going to win every single race for the rest of the season either. I don't think the Red Bull is where it was like 2023. And of course, you've got to expect that Lando's maybe going to pick up a win or two as well. So I don't think it is like a slam dunk that Max is going to take the title. And the final and probably the most important reason is the point swing that Max has had in the last 5 races. So if we take a look back to Zandvoort, okay, Max Verstappen was 104 points off the championship. After Monza 94, Baku 69, Singapore 63, Austin Sprint Race 55, after the Austin GP only 40 points behind. And momentum plays a huge part in Formula 1. And there's confidence as well. Like Oscar Piastri's confidence must be pretty low at this point, and Max is probably feeling like a legend at the moment. And I made a video on my TikTok about this yesterday. I had people commenting saying like, oh, there's 40 points left, he's not gonna be able to do it. But he's done 64 points in 5 races. And there's 5 races to go, why wouldn't he take 40 points? Part of me does think that the most important factor now going forward is going to be if anybody has a DNF or like if 2 of the title rivals collide. Like imagine if Lando and Max crash into each other, then Oscar goes on to win or get a P2, then it's kind of game over for the other 2 drivers. And how lucky are McLaren that they didn't come together in the Grand Prix, that it was just a sprint race they crashed in. So to sum it all up, I think that the package of Max Verstappen and the Red Bull is the quickest package right now. I think Max is making the difference up there. As I said, he is the best driver in Formula 1. No one's really going to argue that. Secondly, Oscar Piastri's form has just massively dipped, and the races coming up next don't really seem like his strong suit. I do have a theory that because these tracks that we're going to now are not ones that usually race in the junior categories, so like Oscar's at a bit of a disadvantage there, whereas the tracks that we do race at in the junior categories, he does a bit better at. I don't know if the numbers really back that up. That's kind of just a sort of thought off the top of my head. And finally, the momentum, like you have 64 points in 5 races. All he needs to do is 40 in the remaining 5. I reckon that's on, honestly. And regardless of who wins the championship this year, I really don't care, because if Max wins, greatest comeback in Formula 1 history. Like, what a legend, like the greatest of all time, people will be saying. If Lando wins it, awesome, we get a new Formula 1 champion. Same for Oscar. If Oscar wins, great, first Aussie world champion since like, what, Alan Jones in 1980. So whatever happens, I am buzzing for these last 5 races. Cannot wait. And let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Is it Max's title? Is it Lando's? Lando's got a good bit of momentum at the moment too. Or is it going to stay as Oscar Piastri, our championship leader? Thank you so much for watching. Those of you that are already subscribed, you will have noticed a sizable gap in my content recently. I've basically just moved back from Australia to the UK, sold my flat, so everything is so up in the air at the moment. But I'm going to try and be a lot more consistent on the channel now. So if you are new here, please drop a subscribe. And if you're on TikTok as well, I have got a TikTok page that I am very active on. I post once or twice at least a day on there, so give us a follow on there too. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.